Hello, Juniper class, and welcome to our very first main lesson here on Google Classroom. We're getting right back into business math, right where we left off in making pizza. Hope you guys remember last week we did make some pizza together in class, and I started to share with you a list of ingredients that we needed to make the pizza and how much each of those ingredients cost. And we need to figure out how much do all the ingredients that we need to make one pizza, how much does all of that cost together? So I'm going to flip around here to this whiteboard I've got and show you what I mean. So say we bought a log of pepperoni and we cut this whole thing into a bunch of slices like this. And this whole log actually made enough pizza for 3 pepperonis. So 1 stick equals enough pep for 3 pizzas. That means that if we cut this big stick of pepperoni into 3 equal parts, each one of these would be enough pepperoni for 1 pizza. This whole log cost $3.48. So we need to figure out if we only need this much to make 1 pizza, this whole log costs $3.48. We need to figure out how much this one section of the log costs. And we need to do that for how much cheese and how much sauce and how much yeast and how much flour and how much salt and how much sugar, how much all of those ingredients we needed to make just 1 pizza. So similar to the pepperoni log, say we had a bag of cheese that had 16 cups of cheese in it. We would need, so here's, let's imagine this bag. Let's also imagine a bag of cheese that has 16 cups of cheese in it. So 4 by 4 is 16, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's fix that there. So, if we imagine that this is one big bag of cheese, and this whole bag costs $15.88. We need to figure out, let me reiterate. This bag is a bag of 16 cups of cheese, but we only need 1 cup of cheese to make a pizza. But the cheapest way to buy the cheese is in this big 16 cup bag. That 16 cup bag cost $15.88, and we need to figure out how much does just 1 cup of that cheese cost. Basically, we need to divide this number by 16, right? So we need to set that up. And I want to show you how we're going to set that up. We would set it up as a division problem, and the cost of 1 bag was $15.88, but we want to find what 1/16 of that bag is, so we need to divide by 16. So we need to figure out how many times does 16 go into 15. Oh, it doesn't go any times into 15, it's too big. So we need to add 1 more digit on. How many times does 16 go into 158? This is a big number that you guys might have to try multiplying 16 by a couple different numbers to find out exactly how many it is. Is it 8? see. 16 times 8. Let's try this. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 2, or I'm sorry, plus 4 is 12. So 128. That still fits in there, so it could be 8, but let's go one higher and see if we can fit it in. What's 16 times 9? 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14, so 144. We're getting close up there. If we add 16 to 144, I should be setting a good example and writing these neatly, but I'm trying to do the math with one hand and hold my camera with the other. But 144 plus another 16. 6 plus 4 is 10. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus another 1 is 6. And 1 plus 0 is 1. So that gives us 160. So that's too big. That's bigger than 158. So we know it's 9. 16 goes into 158 9 times. If we multiply 16 times 9, we get 144. So we write that underneath here. Okay, what is 158 minus 144? 8 minus 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. 16 won't go into 14. So we have to bring down the 8. We've already done this over here and found out that 16 times 9 is 144. So 144 will fit into 148. So we can put another 9 up here. And again, multiplying 6 times 9 is 144. If we subtract that, we get 4, a remainder of 4. We'll have to bring down a 0. 16 goes into 40 how many times? This is going to be another one we might have to figure out over here. So what is, let's do 16 times 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. We probably won't be able to fit 16 in there again, so because 32 is only 8 less than 40. So 16 goes into 40 2 times. And we'll have to keep continuing this down. 32. We could keep going with this problem, but we've already reached the third decimal place, and we can use that to round to the nearest penny. So $15.88 divided by 16, rounded to the nearest penny, is going to give us 99 cents. So again, I could, down here, you know, if I had room, continue to do all this math if I needed to, but since we're already at the third decimal, we can stop, and we can round to the nearest penny. 2 is less than 5, so it rounds down to 99. So this is we can say that this is about 99 cents per 1 cup. So just to reiterate here, I've also done the math and know that this comes out to about $1.16. So just to reiterate here, what we're trying to do is we're taking the amount of an ingredient that we bought and dividing it by how much of that ingredient we actually need for just one pizza. So this stick of pepperoni cost me $3.48, but the third of it that I need for one pizza only costs $1.16. So that's our cost of pepperoni for one pizza. Similarly here with this big bag of cheese that's got 16 cups of cheese in it. That costs $15.88 for those all 16 cups, that one big bag. But if I calculate the cost of just cheese, it comes out to about 99 cents per cup. And that's how much I need for one pizza. So conceptually, that's what we're trying to do here when we're calculating the cost of ingredients for our pizza. Now we need to do this not only for pepperoni and cheese, but also sauce, yeast, flour, salt, and sugar. So I have set up this chart here for us to practice calculating how much it's going to cost to make one pizza. I'm going to pause here for a moment, and I just want you to copy down this chart. You're probably going to want to use a piece of paper landscape-wise and line it out with your ruler so you have nice straight lines. I don't have my big yardstick here at home, so I wasn't able to do this on my big whiteboard here. But I want you to copy this down on a piece of paper. I'm going to hold still here for a moment, and I want you to copy this down, and I'll read some of these off to you if you need help reading them. Pepperoni, 1 stick. The cost was $3.48 per stick. Cheese. I purchased 1 bag, and that had 16 cups of cheese in it. That bag costs $15.58 per bag. Sauce. A regular jar of sauce was 28 ounces, and that jar cost 88 cents per jar. Now the gluten-free sauce came in the same size jar, but it cost $2.98 per jar. The yeast came in a 4-ounce jar, and it was $3.60 per jar. The flour, these are exact amounts that I bought, but you know what? For these, we don't really need to worry about it as much. These ones that are in green here are things that are sold by weight. So these are all items that I went to the store and I had to buy a stick of pepperoni, or I had to buy a bag of cheese, or I had to buy a jar of sauce or yeast. But flour and salt and sugar, there's just a big bin that I can take a big scoop and pour it in a bag and then tie that bag up. And when I go to the register, they weigh it and tell me how much I owe based on how much it weighed. So flour cost 36 cents per pound. The gluten-free flour, however, cost $2.40 per pound. Salt cost 51 cents per pound, and sugar cost 88 cents per pound. So again, copying all those down and remaking this chart. Now the next step here is that this is the amount needed for one pizza. We bought 1 stick, but we only needed 1/3 of a stick to make the pizza. We bought a 16-cup bag, but we only needed 1 cup to make that pizza. Similarly for sauce, we only needed 8 ounces out of a 28-ounce jar. For yeast, we needed about 0.17 ounces out of a 4-ounce jar. For flour, we needed about 0.6 pounds of flour. We needed about 0.02 pounds of salt, and we needed about 0.005 pounds of sugar. And again, these are the prices there for 51 cents per pound for salt and 88 cents per pound for sugar. Now we need to figure out what do we multiply by in order to find the cost of the ingredient per one pizza. Well, if we had 1 stick and we only needed 1/3 of that stick, then guess what we're multiplying by? 1/3. 1/3 of the stick is going to cost 1/3 of the price. 1 cup out of a 16-cup bag is going to cost 1/16 of the price. Now, but you'll notice when I did the math over here, I was dividing, right? This is asking what are we multiplying by? I divided by 16. But guess what? Remember that dividing by 16 is the same as multiplying by 1/16. Dividing by 16 is the same as multiplying by 1/16. I just showed you guys in that math right there that I found that we need to pay about 99 cents per cup of cheese. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is fill out the rest of this chart. You've copied down all the things that I've put up here so far. Again, you can always pause at any time. When I'm holding it like this, you can pause and take that as a moment to copy these things down. The last thing I want to explain is how you're going to do these items down here, because it's a little bit different than the pink ones up here. So to find the cost of flour for one pizza, we need to multiply the amount needed for one pizza by the cost. So I'm just going to multiply by 0.6. Let me switch colors and keep it consistent here. .6. So this is much simpler. Let me pause here for a second. In order to calculate these ones in pink, you're going to need to multiply by a fraction. Remember that multiplying by a fraction is the same as dividing by a whole number. So multiplying by 3 is the same as man, guys, I am having a really hard time writing without both hands here. So multiplying by 3 is the same as dividing by 1/3. Or the opposite of that. Multiplying by 1/3, or multiplying by, right. Multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. I could change these back and forth all day. Multiplying by 3 is the same as dividing by 1/3. Multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. So in these pink ones up here, you're multiplying by a fraction, or in other words, dividing by the denominator, dividing by 3 or dividing by 16. In these green ones down here, you're multiplying by the decimal, or by the weight of how much we need, multiplying that by the cost of that weight. So let me show you an example problem of one of these. With flour, for example, flour costs $0.36 per pound. LB is always our abbreviation for pound. We need 0.6 pounds flour for one pizza. And we need to ask ourselves, how much does enough flour for one pizza cost? How much does enough flour for one pizza cost? Okay, so again, the way we're going to get this answer is by multiplying. We need to multiply 0.36 times 0.6. Again, I'm getting those numbers from up here. 36 cents per pound multiplied by 6 pounds. So what's 6 times 6? is 36. What's 6 times 3? 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 3 is 21. Now that's basically our answer, except we need to find where the decimal place belongs. When we're multiplying by decimals, we always need to move the decimal place at the end the same number of times that there are decimals or numbers to the right of the decimal. So in our original multiplying numbers, we have 1, 2 numbers to the right of the decimal, and one more number to the right of the decimal to make a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3 means we add up 1, 2, 3 spaces like that and put the decimal here. So this is this would be $0.216, but since we always round to the nearest penny, we can you can use the 6. Since 6 is greater than 5, we would round to 22. We would say it's approximately equal to 22 cents. Okay, so this is the kind of word problem that I'm going to use to find out how much our flour costs. So 22 cents worth of flour per pizza. Okay, so far we've got $1.16 worth of pepperoni, 99 cents worth of cheese, 22 cents worth of flour. You're going to have to figure out how much sauce is going to cost, how much yeast is going to cost, how much salt and sugar are going to cost. Remember that these pink ones are multiplying by a fraction, and these green ones are going to be multiplying by this decimal. You saw how I set this up kind of as a word problem, and then I solved that problem mathematically here. I'm going to want you to set this up and set up a word problem and draw out your work for every one of these and show me your calculations of how you got this cost. Okay? So I'm going to move over here to my binder, and I did some practice work in here, and you can see how I set up each of one of these as a word problem and then showed the work and then wrote my answer right here. And then I think I might have done this differently. I have different numbers in here because I calculated this differently last time. I thought there was a different amount of cheese in the bag, so don't look at this one. But this one is a good example of what I want you to do. For each one of these ingredients, I want you to write out a word problem, and then do the math of that word problem. And then after you've copied this chart down, you're going to fill in this info on the chart. Once you have the cost of every ingredient, once you've done a word problem for every ingredient, you've filled in the chart for every ingredient. On this right-hand column, that's the cost of each ingredient. We're going to add that up at the bottom and find our total. So we need to find the total cost of all of our ingredients for one pizza. I can't remember. I've been trying to record this a couple times now, and I can't remember if I've explained this already or not. But I want to give an example of how we're going to do the division here, or multiplying by a fraction. So I'm going to erase this problem and put one back up for pepperoni. Here's the problem I've written out. And I just want to take a quick second to say that the great thing about these video lessons is that if you are unsure about something I said, you can always rewind and go back and see it again, or pause it and wait a second and kind of process what I said, and then press play and continue on. So if you need help doing the division problem or doing the multiplication problem, you can pause this video and rewind to that part of it, watch those steps again, and then go back and do each step of your math problem by yourself. So let's go ahead and work through this problem here. We bought one stick of pepperoni, not for $15.88, but for $3.48. That was the cost of the bag of cheese. We bought 1 stick of pepperoni for $3.48. We need 1/3 of a stick of pepperoni for 1 pizza. How much does 1/3 of a stick of pepperoni cost? That's what we need to figure out. So in order to do that, we need to multiply $3.48 by 1/3 to find out what 1/3 of 348 is. Remember that multiplying by a fraction is always the same as dividing by the inverse whole number. So multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. And I could switch this even. Multiplying by 3 is the same as dividing by 1/3. And I could switch it back, and it's still equal. Multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. Multiplying by a fraction is always the same as dividing by the whole inverse number. So let's go ahead and set that up as a real division problem. We're going to look at $3.48 divided by 3. So let's get started. How many times does 3 go into 3? 1 time. What is 3 times 1? It is 3. We'll subtract that from 3, get 0. We'll bring down this 4. How many times does 3 go into 4? Again, 1 time. What's 1 times 3? 3 again. But this time when we subtract 3 from 4, we get a remainder of 1. We'll have to bring down this 8 now. How many times does 3 go into 18? 3 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 plus 3 is 18. So 6 times 3 is 18. So 3 goes into 18 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We subtract and don't have any remainder left, and we're good here. We're going to bring this decimal straight up and put it there. So $1.16. That's how I got this cost of pepperoni per 1 pizza is $1.16. So again, just to recap, what I want you to do is to fill in this chart. I want you to show me your math work on lined paper. I want you to take a picture of your chart. I want you to take a picture of your work, of your math work, and upload all of those to me. So I should get a picture of your chart. You're gonna, rather than doing your chart on a whiteboard like this, you're gonna do it on paper and draw it out with a ruler. And then you are, in order to calculate these costs, you're gonna have to do some of these word problems, and you're gonna have to write out these word problems and then do the math here. So that problem right there, again, you can pause here and take a look at this. That problem right there is the same as this problem I just did on the whiteboard here. So I want you to follow the steps of how I did each one of these and do it here on your own paper, and then send me a picture of you doing those math problems. So you have one, so I already did pepperoni and cheese for you. You have sauce to do, and you have salt and sugar to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 problems to figure this out for, okay? And then you need to add them all up and get the total. Once again, I'm sure all that's clear as mud for you guys, so feel free to reach out and ask me questions. Feel free to give me a call tomorrow if you're not sure how to do this. I will find some more structured ways for us to ask and answer these kinds of questions. But for now, calling me is totally fine. I'm kind of expecting that this is just a weird time, and we got a couple new norms to adjust to, so I'm working with that. Good luck to you guys, and again, please upload me pictures of these things, and good luck and have fun. And yeah, like I said, after this, we'll take that cost, the total cost of one pizza, and extrapolate out and figure out how much money do we think we could have made if we could have done this pizza sale, and what could we have done with that kind of money. So this is the next step in us figuring that out. Anyway, have a great day, guys.